This is an interesting one. And I'm smiling, but it's not funny. It's not funny. And I think about myself as a parent, how I would react if someone did this to my kid. So this is starting to gain traction, but there's a neighbor in Atlanta, and he's 29 years old. He's watching his young neighbors, 15-year-olds, playing basketball. And I guess they're cursing while they're playing basketball. So he gets upset and he grabs his belt and he decides to come out there, chastise the kids. And then what he does, one of the kids, he chases him down and starts whipping him. They say attacking him, whipping him with the belt. So this is the video. It's just a piece of the video. They don't have much information. It's more like a news thing, but I'll show it to you.
The video footage is grainy, but the audio is clear as Latika Sims says a 29-year-old man attacked her 15-year-old son.
I was just panicked. I was just like, in 2021, I cannot believe that a fully grown man would think that it was okay to come outside with a belt.
She says her son Maliyk was playing basketball with his cousins in Villa Rica when their next-door neighbor came outside.
When you see the video, he's running full speed at my son, and my son is caught off guard. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Police say that man is Matt Martel. In a police report, he says he was upset about the kids swearing. In a video, it appears Martel grabs the front of Malyk's shirt before the pair go off camera, and you hear a crash.
He was holding me with his hands on my neck, and he threw me up against the garage, and I hit my head. And
Maliyk says he was in shock, but knew he didn't want to get in trouble for fighting back.
My son played football. He has played every sport. He is capable of defending himself. But the reality is he knows that he could not defend himself. So he walked away.
Latrika Sims rushed over as fast as she could and called police, but says she still can't understand how this happened.
I worked in child care 15 years. I have had kids say crazy things to me. I have had kids throw things at me. I have never once thought, you know what? Let me take my belt off and beat somebody else's kid.
So that's the video, and it's interesting that a grown man thinks he has no other option but to come over with a belt, threatening some sort of violence against kids who are playing basketball and speaking, cursing, whatever that means to him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it matters to him. I'm not sure why he's getting in their business. But if he had the respect of those kids or had any type of relationship with those kids, he could have walked over there, had a discussion. He's a grown man. He could have been sort of a role model if it was an issue. And then he could have had a discussion with those young men. They're 15 years old. They're almost young men. And they say, hey, it's bothering me with the cursing. Could you stop? And they could have had a conversation and maybe worked it out. But whenever you come over there with some sort of violence, some sort of threat, that's a last resort. You don't do that. But he did. He went after this young man. And from what I'm understanding, from what the mother is saying, the young man was making a decision in his mind, which is what I truly respect. This is why I did the video. He's making a decision in his mind. I call it emotional intelligence, where you're deciding, even though you're under pressure, even though you're going against somebody who's kind of in a rage or in violence, you're making a decision about your future. He said he didn't want to get in trouble, but it's the same thing. You're making a decision about your future. Do I want to defend myself and create violence with this man? And I thought it was an interesting choice because he could have done it. He could have defended himself. He's 15 years old. This grown man's coming over with a belt. He could have done it, but he chose to leave the situation. I say I agree with that choice in this situation. And the reason why I say I agree with that choice in this situation is because if you are cornered and it's a last resort and you're in so much danger that you have to defend yourself with violence, then I say go all out. But if you're in this situation where this neighbor is coming over, he's chasing you down with a belt, you can figure out a way to get away, and then you figure out another strategy afterwards, I say that's the strategy you do. And that's what they did. And because they did that, because that young man made that decision, that's one of the reasons the mother wanted to show this as well. But because that young man made that type of choice, that type of decision, remained calm, thought it through, they were able to contact the police at a later time. They were able to press charges against this person for this action. I can't remember what the charges were. Charges of assault, battery, cruelty to children, and disorderly conduct. And it was interesting is that this grown man is doing all these acts of violence against this child who he says he's offended by the cursing, and this child chose not to react and step down to this level as this man and choose violence like this man did. So we look at this situation like who's the bigger person in this situation? In my opinion, it's obviously this 15-year-old. So that's all I got on that one. Peace and hope, everyone.